name is Darla Slee, and I don't have a plan, but so my show is based on Norse mythology. I guess I should start. I've been I drew as a kid, but then got away from it for a while and tried a lot of other creative avenues. And in my 20s, I felt like I needed to get back to it, so I took a few classes, and I feel like I still have a lot to learn and will continue learning, but started getting back into it and started showing my work, and it's just kind of keeps rolling along. So when I put a show together, I find it helps me if I can have a theme to focus on rather than just random pieces. It's almost like if you have unlimited options, then you can't think of anything. So it's almost better if you have some sort of limits or parameters to work with. The three-dimensional aspect, that's something I started experimenting with sort of early on. Like I said, I tried other creative avenues and was, I guess, working with my hands, working more three-dimensionally, working on jewelry and things. So not necessarily sculpture, but I guess, yeah, I wanted to bring some of that three-dimensional element into my pieces. So I'd seen some other things online and started trying to figure out how I could do it, and I'm still developing my technique, but yeah, I think it's working. And so the Norse mythology part, I really enjoy folklore and mythology. I've always enjoyed stories. My parents read those fairy tales to me when I was a kid, and so it wasn't, I don't know, it was maybe a few years ago that I started learning the Norse myths. I was listening to a podcast and heard a few of them, and that kind of sparked my interest. I mean, I had enjoyed Lord of the Rings years before, and J.R.R. Tolkien was influenced by Norse mythology as well as Finnish folklore or something. But so you can kind of see how Norse mythology has influenced him and other artists, like the names Gandalf and Gimli. Those come directly from Norse mythology. Those were the names of dwarves. And so I began to get into it. I got a copy of the Poetic Edda and the Prose Edda and was reading up on it. And then I'm starting to go online and see what other people are talking about. And the title of the show is Uprooting a Mountain. Uprooting a Mountain. I can't remember what it's
Reimagining.
called. Reimagining.
Norse mythology. Norse mythology reimagined. Yes.
We like you. You're great. So I'm digging into it, and I'm seeing these things online, like people saying, Norse mythology isn't, it's not for white people, or it's not for these far-right fascist people. I'm like, why are people saying that? And just like whatever, and digging more, and I'm finding out that, well, unfortunately, these far-right people have kind of tried to make it theirs. I don't know. I guess even going back like to the Nazis and before, for whatever reason, people latched onto it to kind of, I don't know, I mean, that or the Vikings to sort of say that they had some sort of racial superiority or something, which makes no sense, because if you went back to the time period that these myths were being told, before these countries were even thought of, like, these people wouldn't have known what we're talking about. Like, and I mean, they had extensive trade routes, and they traveled everywhere, and they weren't just one type of people. So it's weird, but I guess insecure people try to glom onto things. So it bothered me, and I was like, I'm really enjoying the stories, but it kind of made it hard to enjoy them, knowing that these groups are out there. And there are a lot of groups, by the way, that are very much against that and working to promote like inclusivity, and there's a Heathens Against Hate group and all of this. So and the band Wardruna, that's very popular, they've spoken out against racism and hate. So I don't know, it's like there's this battle going on, but I kind of felt like, well, I guess before I could continue playing with the concepts or whatnot, I was like, well, how can I do something a little different and show people that it's for everyone, that it's not this stagnant thing that I don't know, that I don't know, maybe some ideas about it are already kind of in the mindset of public consciousness or whatnot. It's like, these, I mean, the Norse myths feel like they're alive, I think, because of, like, Ragnarok hasn't happened, and it's almost like things that will happen. So it's almost like these characters are still alive, and they can keep going, and there's a lot of the mythology that's missing because it was an oral, the stories were passed on orally or carved into wood, and so by the time the myths that we know of were written down, it was maybe like 2 centuries later when they started getting written down. So we're like, there are things that are definitely missing, but I think that kind of frees people up to, I don't know, play with them, and maybe kind of make up your own stories for the characters. Jeremiah did a song called
The Lost Goddesses.
The Lost
song?
Goddesses,
Yeah.
because we don't have many stories about the goddesses. So, there's a lot of material there to play with. It's I don't know. Mythology and folklore, these are ways for people passing on their knowledge, their ideals, their history, and I think, stories are very valuable, and if sometimes you can almost make people feel more through a story than with, a story maybe focusing on a couple of people than, unfortunately, than real world events. I don't know, sometimes you look at what's happening and it's a number, and these stories kind of make it more personal and kind of help you care about it more in a way. So anyway, that's the concept I've been playing with, and I think I'll continue to play with it.